All right, let's talk about a kitchen hack that feels a little bit like magic. What if I told you that you could have a never-ending supply of fresh veggies using the parts you normally just toss in the trash? Well, today, we're going to turn your kitchen into a perpetual garden. And trust me, it's one of the simplest, most satisfying things you can do.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. The last time you made a salad or a stir-fry, what happened to the end of the onion? The stump of that romaine lettuce? The base of the celery? Did it go in the bin? Because this whole explainer really boils down to one simple question. Are you throwing away free food? And let's be honest, the answer is probably yes.
And that's where we need to kind of shift our whole perspective. Because that leftover stock or that lettuce bottom, it isn't trash at all. It's a seed in disguise. It's this little opportunity just sitting there waiting for you to give it a little water and some light.
So how in the world does this even work? It's not actually magic, though it really does feel like it. The science behind it is called plant regeneration. It's this incredible built-in ability that plants have to regrow a whole new version of themselves from just one tiny piece. We're not talking about planting seeds here, we're talking about literally cloning your groceries.
Okay, let's start with the easiest method there is. I like to call this the instant gratification garden. Because honestly, all you need to get going is a glass of water and a sunny spot. These are the plants that give you results like right away. First up, green onions. You know, scallions. The source material calls these the gateway drug of scrap gardening, and that is the perfect description. Why? Because they're ridiculously fast, they're unbelievably easy, and they're the perfect way to prove to yourself that this whole thing actually works.
And the process? It couldn't be simpler. You just slice off the white ends with the little roots, leaving about an inch. Pop those into a small glass with just enough water to cover the roots. The only thing you gotta do is swap out the water every few days to keep it from getting funky. And that's it. Seriously.
And the payoff? It's almost immediate. We are talking about seeing new green shoots in as little as 24 hours. And in about a week, you can literally start snipping off what you need for your tacos or your soup. And the best part is, it'll just keep on growing back.
Now let's talk about something I know you've seen before. You reach into your pantry, and you find a garlic clove with those little green shoots coming out of the top. Your first instinct might be to toss it, right? Thinking it's gone bad? Well, don't. That's not waste. That is a bonus harvest just waiting for you.
All you have to do is take that sprouting clove and set it in something small, like a shot glass, with just a tiny bit of water at the bottom, just enough to touch the base. Then you just sit back and watch, because those green shoots are gonna take off like a rocket. So what do you even do with them? You just snip them off with scissors and use them anywhere you'd use chives or maybe some mild green onions. They are amazing chopped up in scrambled eggs. They're perfect for a stir fry, or you can just sprinkle them on top of pretty much anything for a fresh little kick.
Okay, so once you've become a pro at the just add water method, it's time to level up. Some of these veggies, they get their start in water, but they really take off and give you a much bigger harvest once you move them into some soil. This one's a total classic. You can take the bottom stump of a head of romaine lettuce or bok choy, put it in a shallow dish of water, and watch as brand new little leaves start to sprout right from the center. Now let's be real for a sec. You're not going to regrow a giant perfect head of lettuce this way, but what you are creating is a perfect little garnish garden for your sandwiches and salads.
And this brings you to a fun little choice, kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure. You can keep it simple and just leave it in water. It's fast, it's easy, and you'll get those nice little garnish leaves. Or, if you want something more substantial, you wait for some roots to grow and then you transplant that whole stump into a pot of soil. A little more effort for sure, but a much bigger reward.
Okay, now for what might be my personal favorite, celery. Now, trying to grow celery from a tiny little seed is famously difficult, even for people who really know what they're doing. But regrowing it from the base you're about to throw out, it is one of the easiest and, honestly, most amazing transformations you'll ever see in your kitchen.
So here's how the journey goes. You start with that 2-inch base in some warm water. In about a week, you'll see these tiny, delicate little yellow leaves start to peek out from the very center. Once you see roots starting to form, that's your cue to move it to a pot of soil. And that little scrap will turn into an entire, full-size stalk of celery. How cool is that?
We've all been there, right? You pay way too much money for one of those tiny plastic clamshells of fresh herbs. You use a couple of sprigs, and then the rest just turns into a sad, wilted mess in your fridge. Well, you can stop doing that, especially with herbs like basil and lemongrass. And as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. For basil, you just take a 4-inch stem, make sure no leaves are sitting in the water, and just wait. For lemongrass, you use those leftover rootstocks you cut off. They'll both start to grow new roots right in the water, and once those roots get to be an inch or two long, you just plant them in a pot, and bam, you've got a never-ending supply.
So you see what we're doing here? When you put it all together, this isn't just about a few fun little windowsill experiments. This is about creating a whole system. It's about building your very own perpetual kitchen, where the scraps from your meals get transformed right back into staples for your pantry.
And for our final trick, we've got ginger. Now, what's so amazing about ginger is that it's a 2-for-1 deal. Not only is it a delicious, zesty ingredient, but it also grows into a stunningly beautiful houseplant with these big, lush, tropical leaves. It's edible and it's ornamental.
Now, the method for ginger is a little different. You'll want to find a piece of ginger that has a little bump on it. They call it an eye. That's where the growth is going to happen. All you do is soak that piece overnight, then bury it in a pot of soil with the eye facing up. Be patient, and in a few weeks, you'll be rewarded with those gorgeous green shoots.
So there you have it. That's 7 different things: green onions, garlic greens, lettuce, celery, basil, lemongrass, and ginger that you can buy one time and then regrow forever right from your own kitchen.
So what's the big deal? Why does any of this matter? Well, for one, it saves you actual money at the grocery store. It also seriously cuts down on your food waste. It's a fantastic hands-on science experiment to do with kids. But I think most importantly, it connects you to where your food comes from in a really cool, direct way.
And that really brings us to the big takeaway here, the idea that I hope you walk away with. You don't need a big yard, you don't need a bunch of expensive tools from a nursery. Gardening can start right here on your cutting board.
So as we wrap this up, the question isn't really if you should try this. The real question is, what are you going to start with? Your next garden is waiting right there for you on your cutting board. So what are you going to regrow first?